so many Yawara. Hey, what's up, people? I'm in the shop this morning doing my finishing work. Got some steaks and Yawara to cord up. Oh, they already left. Guess it was too boring. It isn't super exciting. All right. Oh, so much stuff to cord up this morning. Welcome to my party. Just cording up some Yawara this morning, and I've got some steaks I'm going to cord wrap the handles on. And I've got a cross steak and a little kid-sized Donatello staff for Halloween stuff that I gotta cord wrap the handle on. And I was going to do a Monkey King cudgel today, but apparently I am out of studs, which I didn't realize. I did not realize I was out of the studs for my Monkey King cudgel, so I have to go by the hardware store this week and get that handled. But we'll do that one next week. We'll do the Monkey King cudgel next week. For now, I've got enough of those in stock, so it's not super pressing. Good morning. Bro, from Green Acres, Florida. I'm over here in Inglewood, Florida. It's where my shop is in Florida. So welcome. Always nice to have a neighbor. All right, so those are the red ones. And I got these blue ones. Good morning from California. We're in Cali. I used to live in Torrance, California when I was about 10 to 12. I lived from about the age of 10 to the age of 12. I lived in Torrance, California. I lived in they called it the Asian district, I think, where I lived in Torrance. Oh, San Mateo. I was stationed not too far from there in San Diego when I was in the Marine Corps. Boring state of Nebraska. I don't know, I bet you there's some cool stuff to do in Nebraska. Mostly outdoorsy stuff, I would imagine. Nothing boring about that, though. Missouri. Now, that's a state I'm not super familiar with. Like I've been there, but I don't think I've spent a whole lot of time there. Like I think St. Louis, I think it's the only place I've been. That's Missouri, right? See if I can melt off these paracord ends without burning the living shit out of myself. Last one. Now we can get the cording stuff up. All right. So the first we get started on these Purple Heart Yawara. Seattle. Or STL, that's Seattle, right? I don't know where STL is. Oh, St. Louis. Duh. Sorry, man. I'm still waking up. St. Louis. Yeah, that's where I've been. And it's the only place I've really ever been in Missouri. I've driven through it a few times. I think the only place I've ever stopped and done anything is St. Louis. Right, yeah. Sorry about that. Oh, hang on, guys. Having a technical issue here. There we go. Oh, not sure why I just did that. There we go. All right. I'm definitely looking like an old person right now. Where am I from? Everyone always asks me that on here. So I'm not really from anywhere. I was born in Yukon, Oklahoma, but didn't stay there very long. I moved area. I moved out of there when I was like 10 years old, and I've moved all over most of my life. I was kind of transient as a kid. So I lived in Oklahoma, California, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and eventually kind of landed in Texas for a good chunk of time. Then I graduated from high school, joined the Marine Corps, and went all over. So I don't know. If people ask me where I'm from, I usually just say Texas because that's the easiest answer. Because I feel like I've spent probably the biggest chunk of my life was in Texas. So I usually just tell people I'm from Texas. And if they test me on it, I usually pass muster because I spent enough time in Texas. I know how to do most of the things people from Texas know how to do. Like two-step, line dance, that kind of stuff. Ride horses. I can do, Thank you for the likes, everybody. All right, so these are the Padauk Uwara. Padauk's a fun wood. If you're new here, if you've been here before, you've heard me or you heard me say this already, but Padauk, it starts out like a light orange, and then over time it turns a darker shade of orange. Like this is a slightly younger piece of Padauk. I have older pieces in my shop that are darker than this. So the longer you own it, the darker it gets. You're going to a Cardinals baseball game today. Good times. What am I doing today? I am cording up Uwara and steaks and bow staves, and then I'm going to go home and I have so much laundry that I need to get done, so I'm going to go home and do laundry and watch a bad movie and put stuff up on the shop for sale. That's pretty much what I do every Sunday. These, by the way, these are slightly longer Uwara. These are 8-inch white ash Uwara. I came into some white ash, which is not super easy to get these days because there's a beetle that's eaten most of the ash forests here in North America. So, but I had a vendor who they came across some white ash. So you also have church. Man, you got a busy morning. What are you doing on here? So then I had a bunch of white ash. So I made some super retails, but I had some cutoffs. So I'm making these Uwara out of white ash. Super strong stuff, stronger than oak. I thought blue would look good with these, so I'm gonna do blue. Hi, how are ya? You're a subscriber? Awesome. Well, then you can watch this whenever you want. Thanks for the subscription, by the way. Appreciate it. I know I'm not probably the most exciting person on YouTube, but I like to show off my stuff. Another one down. Got 2 more of these. Then we're gonna move on to these steaks that I made from some oak cutoffs that I had. Trying to make myself I have like a box full of cutoffs. I've been trying to make myself use the cutoffs because they've been sitting there forever. So the oak cutoffs I've been making weird little vampire steaks out of. You like to watch it? Awesome. I'm glad you do. I appreciate it. And this is our last ash one. Oh, get on here. Well, I appreciate you guys coming on and hanging out with me at this ungodly hour. All right, we'll be here. All right, so that's all my Uwara. Let me get these up out of the way here. I got 4 of these white ash Uwara, 2 of these Padauk, and 2 more of the Purple Heart. I'll be right back, you guys. Hang tight. I'll only be gone like 60 seconds. Woot, woot. All right. Now, the steaks that I got today, I got this one. This was a cutoff. I kind of gave it almost like a knife configuration. I didn't blade it up though. I only sharpened up the tip, so it still kind of looks mostly steakish. And we're gonna do the handle on that. And then I had this cut off. Had a little bit of a belly in it. I thought that was cool. So again, just gave it like a pyramidal tip, but it's got a nice little handle stop at the end. I think for these, I haven't really decided yet, but I think I'm gonna go with black Jew cord. I feel like black for vampire steaks is kind of probably the most likely color that people are going to like. You know, sometimes if you use green or red or something, people, you know, they don't like the wrap. So I'm gonna go with black. Speaking of vampires, man, I went to go see Sinners last night. Holy cow, that movie's amazing. You like black? Yeah, black's a good color. I feel like that's, most of my clothes are black. This is a throwback to my metalhead and goth days when I was young. Well, that's but man, I saw Sinners last night. That movie it's nearly perfect. It is the damn near perfect movie. I highly recommend checking it out if you haven't. It's really good. I think it's already made like over $100 million in its first 2 weekends. It did like 60 million its first weekend, and it did another 40 million this last weekend. So it's good though, man. It's good. The vampire part of it is awesome, and even up to that, even before the vampires show up, like, it's just very well written, it's very well casted. Cinematography is freaking amazing. Hey Will, I'm talking about Sinners, the movie Sinners. It's got Michael B. Jordan in it. It's a Ryan Coogler film. Really good. It's in theaters right now. Really enjoyed it. I'm not being paid to say this either. I just went to see it last night, and man, it was good. And, you know, as a guy who makes a lot of vampire steaks, I really enjoy vampire movies. So if you like vampire movies, not like the Twilight side type of vampire movie, if you like actually scary vampire movies, highly recommend checking it out. It kind of reminds me, the way the vampires are done, they used mostly the older lore, you know, as opposed to like the pop culture lore. You know, the vampires, they have to be invited in, and they you know, they have the weaknesses of, you know, silver, steak, holy water, garlic, you know, that kind of stuff. Oh yeah, and after this one, I'm doing this. This is a cross stake that I made this weekend. I've got to figure out what I'm gonna use to cord up that handle. But if you got any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I am more than happy to answer any question you've got. Well, almost any question. Probably shouldn't say that to the internet, that I'll answer any question. But yeah, this one and the other one will go on the shop later today. Come on. Yeah, I love the black jute cord because it looks good, but man, it takes a while to cord wrap because it's so thin. Almost there. All right. There we go. That one's done. And there we are. Got a nice little vampire steak. I'll do this one. Although next week should be interesting. It looks like I'm probably going to be doing a couple of custom orders next week. I've got one guy, he wants a practice Bowie knife. So I'm going to make a Bowie knife waster next week probably. If he's cool with the estimate I gave him. I haven't heard back from him yet. And I got a custom baseball bat with nail spikes in it that I'm making for Nugs the Final Girl. I'm hoping to finish that one next weekend. Whoop, there we go. And then after this, we got to figure out what we're going to do with this cross stake. So you guys be thinking, because I'm honestly not sure like what I want to wrap the handle, or if I even want to wrap the handle. I haven't decided yet. But that's this right here. Like, what do you guys think? Black jute cord? I feel like black is just going to not really show up because it's kind of dark already. I was thinking about doing either like a white athletic tape maybe, or like white cotton cord just on the handle part right here. I don't know. Tell me what you guys think. Should I do athletic tape? Should I do white cotton cord? Should I do... I don't think paracord would look right with that. Definitely not doing paracord. But I am open to suggestions because I honestly have no idea what to do with that. I am currently off my ADD meds, so decision making not my strong suit right now. What's up to the new people who have entered the chat? Yeah, I'm gonna have to get more of this jute cord. I'm starting to run out. And I'm starting to look like an old man. I have to look over my glasses. I have bifocals, and I don't focus well through my glasses. So Sometimes if I need to focus on something up close, I have to look over my glasses, and it makes me look like someone's grandpa. Not that the gray beard doesn't already make me look like someone's grandpa. Well, is it a quiet group? Can't be that interesting to watch this. Oh, maybe it is. I don't know that I'm a good judge of what's interesting anymore. Almost there. Come on. Stay tight. Tight. Here we go. And on my steak wraps, just to let you guys know, I don't use any adhesive on these. So if you do buy one of my steaks and you don't like the handle wrap, you can replace it fairly easily, or you can cut it off and it comes right off. So you can remove or replace the handle wrap of your steak as you desire. I don't like to assume that people are going to use it the way I sell it to them, so almost there. Come on. Try not to stab myself in the face while I do this. There we go. I just gotta. There we are. There we have. All right, vampire steaks are done. What do you guys think on this? I don't know. I'm trying to decide. Excuse me. Let me go throw away these tips here. Be right back. Excuse me. I don't know why, but I feel like allergy season came early for me this year. Let's see. Now here's what I'm thinking. I have this white cord that I use sometimes. It distresses really easy, and I think that would make it look older. The athletic tape would probably make it look newer, because it's not like they were using athletic tape in the 19th century. And technically, this is a replica of a steak from a 19th century vampire hunter kit. I had a client probably about 2 or 3 years ago. They had gone to an auction, and it was like a goth like style auction, and they had these 19th century vampire hunter kits they were selling, and like it ended up selling for like $5,000. So the lady got a hold of me, and she's like, "So I didn't want to spend $5,000 on it, but I was wondering if you could make some replicas." So she sent me pictures of the steaks, and this was one of them. That was in there. It's just a cross with a little pyramidal tip. I make a few different kinds of these. I have a smaller one that I made. This is actually the first time in a while I've made one of the bigger ones. So I think we'll go with the cord. What do you guys think? Cord? Going once, going twice. Cord it is. Nobody told me no, so I'm gonna take that as permission to use the cotton cord. All right. I can tell already this is going to be a pain in the ass to do. All right, there we go. One of these days, I will learn to cord wrap stuff before I do final assembly, but today is not that day. For those of you who are new, this is the Warrior Wood and Props shop. I make vampire stakes and battle bats, and I make practice weapons for HEMA and Boo Hurt and SCA. I make cosplay props. I make everything from functional props to con-safe props that are made out of like foam or rubber and plastic, so that you can get it into the convention if it's a weapon. It looks like a weapon, and you can get it into the convention without getting into any trouble. Like I just finished, I think like week before last, I finished a pair of prop sai. They're all rubber and plastic, but you would not know it to look at them. I got one set of Raphael sai and one set of Electra sai up on the shop right now. Those are fun. Hey, you like that? Yeah, this is it's a double whammy. You got the cross and the stake. So once you stake them, you know they'll stay put. As long as you leave the stake in. Yeah, that's one part of vampire lore also that I noticed. Like in Sinners, they didn't follow it, which is fine. It was a minor detail. But like a lot of vampire lore, if you stake a vampire, it doesn't actually kill them. It more like puts them in a state of suspended animation for as long as the stake is in their heart. So some lore says that if you take the stake out, then the next time the vampire is hit by the light of the full moon, the vampire will resurrect. So, which I find interesting. I feel like that's one of those things somebody wrote down but never tested. So, but yeah, I love this thing. Thanks, Will. But yeah, I really enjoy making weaponry that would be used to fight supernatural creatures that really probably don't exist, but still fun. I wrote a book for DK Publishing last year or I published a book with DK Publishing last year called Supernatural Creatures. That was a lot of fun. It's always interesting, like the ways there are to like fight supernatural creatures. I always find the further back you go, like the weirder the way to kill the creature is. Like the Chinese, they have this thing called a chengxi, which I'm probably butchering that pronunciation because I'm terrible at Chinese pronunciation, but it's like they call it means hopping corpse. It's kind of like a zombie vampire hybrid kind of a thing. And you can kill them with loud noises, apparently. You can if you hit them with a straw broom, that will also hurt them. I also think a lot of undead legends come from when we had plagues. China definitely had the plague for quite a while, and during plagues, a lot of people were used to be buried prematurely, and I think they would bury people thinking they were dead when they weren't dead yet. The person would recover, leave the grave, try to go home. They freaked out because they thought he was like a ghost, so they started hitting it with a broom, and it ran away. And they were like, "Oh, okay, it's a Chung-Chi. It must have been a Chung-Chi." Well, we hit it with a broom and it ran away. So apparently that works. You can use that to get rid of them. We're getting there. I think just a few more turns. I just want to have enough of a grip on here so that it's obvious that this is a handle. But welcome to my party, everybody. If you got any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I'm just doing my Sunday finishing work, and I go live every Sunday morning while I do this because it helps me be less bored. And it helps me show off all the stuff that I make each week. I also go live on Saturdays now in the afternoon, usually early afternoon, or like around lunchtime, because I just do like all my staining work and stuff like that on Saturday after I'm done working. The only time I don't really live stream what I'm doing is when I'm doing my work because it is crazy loud in my shop, and I don't think that would be enjoyable for anyone to watch me work as I'm running 3 air scrubbers and a belt sander and all that stuff. It's just very, very loud. All right, let's see. I can get one more. And then I'm going to call it good. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Now, cut off these tips here. And don't worry, that wasn't a ghost behind me. That's just probably the guy in the next shop. Well, I guess it could have been a ghost. Here we go. Now we got cross stake. 19th century vampire hunter cross stake replica. That'll go on the shop later today. Let me go set this stuff aside. And when I come back, we got this bad boy to cord wrap. This is my child-sized Donatello staff. We're going to cord wrap the center of that when I get back. Give me like 60 seconds. Oh yeah. Also, before I get started on that Donatello staff, I've got a broadsword waster over here that I need to buff out because I gave it its second coat of tung oil this morning. So I got to put a sock on my hand and buff that out so it doesn't have any bubbles in it, and make sure it has a nice finish. This is a broadsword waster, which I actually changed my design of this recently. I got some feedback from my from my Boohurt users that they think the blade needs to be just slightly wider. So I made the blade, it used to be 1.75 inches wide. The blade is now 2 inches wide. They said the handle was too long, so I shortened up the handle slightly. This is red oak with a double tung oil finish. I sand these bad boys up to 1,000 grit. And a lot of times, people who buy these are in SCA or HEMA or Boohurt. A lot of times they have specific competition weapons that they have to use in tournaments, and those weapons are not cheap. So they buy my wasters so they can practice with these. The weights are pretty close to the same. Not exactly, but they're close. The balances are pretty close to the same. So they can use these to beat each other up and smack the hell out of these for about 1/3 the cost of what one of their low-end competition weapons cost. So, all right. That one is done, son. All right. So that's buffed. Now I need to get some paracord. I need the light brown. Okay, is this? Hang on. Let's see how much of this I've got left. May not have enough. Let's see. I'll have to open a new one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nope, that's not gonna be enough. All right. Gonna have to open a new thing of paracord for this Donatello staff. So I make 3 different kinds of Donatello staffs. I have the standard cosplay Donatello staff, which is about 57, 58 inches. That one is mostly for people who do like the latex 1991 style of costume. That costume has a holder on the back of the shell, and so you need it to be slightly shorter. So 58 inches is a good size to like wear on your back. You're not dragging it on the ground, and it looks good. And then I have a deluxe Donatello staff that's about 62 inches. It's made of poplar, and it's more for people that are going to be carrying the staff around and they want to, or they're taller, you know, sometimes people are tall, kind of depends. But this is specifically for children. This is a 48-inch one, so it's about the length of a Joe staff. But if you have a little one who likes to dress up as Donatello or is doing it for Halloween, it's a nice little prop for their costume. It looks good. Definitely looks better than those cheapy plastic like Donatello staff toys that they sell. To be honest, anything will look better than that. But let's see, here we go. There we go. But thanks for hanging out with me, everybody. If you've got any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. Like I said, I'm just doing my finishing work and hanging out with y'all. So if there's something you want me to talk about, feel free to hit me up. I'm pretty good at talking. Kind of like one of my primary like skills is my ability to talk endlessly about everything and nothing all at once. All right. Probably should have counted these out, but I didn't. Now I don't know where I'm at. Crap. All right. We'll give that a shot. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, And 16. All right, that should be good. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. You may guys wonder why I count. I count because I know how many links from like here, from my belly button to here it takes to do stuff. So I count it out so that I know I have enough cord, because I don't want to be searching for cord. If I run out or if I reach the end of the spool, don't want that to happen. So now for these Donatello stabs, I actually do use adhesive just to make sure everything stays in place. All right, and I have it marked where the beginning and end points are so that I don't, so that way it's symmetrical in the center, it's perfectly in the center, and it's the right length. For these, I do a 10-inch wide wrap in the center. For my other Donatello staffs, I do a 12-inch wrap. Oh, I'm over here talking about the adhesive and I forgot to put it on. Probably should do that. All right. Oh man, somebody forgot to clean the tip of the applicator last time. And that somebody is probably me. Since I'm the only one in here. All right, here we go. And that adhesive I use is just basically super glue gel. The gel kind of soaks into the wood and the paracord on the bottom so that it adheres pretty well. Just regular old super glue tends to dry pretty brittle, so the gel gives it a little bit better of a bond. And it's less likely to bleed through the paracord and leave that kind of white stain that super glue tends to leave. Oi! What's up? See, is that your name? It is warm in here today. I don't think they're running the air conditioner in the building. Getting a little toasty in here. All right, now I'm at the center point. So I'm gonna put a little more adhesive on the center point. Oops, there we go. Welcome to the chat. Anybody who's new, feel free to drop any questions in there if you like. I'm just doing my finishing work here at the Warrior Wood and Prop Shop this morning. So feel free to ask me a question. I am more than happy to talk at length. Helps me be less bored. I'm just gonna cord up this Donatello staff, and I think this might be my last project for today. Unfortunately, my I was going to do a Monkey King cudgel, but this morning I went and measured all the spots for the studs for the Monkey King cudgel, and I went over to my box to get the studs, and I was out. Do I polish my wood on occasion? Actually, I polish my wood on every occasion. Yeah, it's up to 3,000 grit. I polish it. That's what you were asking, right? Yeah, I polish my wood on occasion. I polish my wood on every possible occasion. Got to make sure that wood is shiny, buffed and polished. Thank you for that. That was great. It is smooth, shiny son bitch. This one here, I didn't necessarily polish. These Donatello stabs, I really only sand them up to about 180 grit because I want there to be a little bit of grain texture on the wood. I don't want it to be like glass smooth. Mainly because it's a Ninja Turtle prop. You know, like Ninja Turtles, they live in the sewer. It's not like they're walking around with perfectly like made weaponry. Most of their stuff should look like it was made in a sewer. So I try to make sure mine kind of look like you could believe that, you know, somebody made this from stuff they found in a sewer. Or at least we're able to find the materials fairly easily. So I feel like paracord, not that hard to come by. And, you know, the wood should just look like it was, you know, a stick that they found and rounded off the ends and gave it a little bit of a sand and put a wrap on. I think that's everything. Yeah. All right. Now we're going to cut this bad boy. I cut you so bad. All right. Come on. Get out of here. All right. There we go. Now we got this. Now I'm going to cut these ends off and melt it to the staff. All right, so that one's down. There. There we go. Now I got a nice little Donatello staff. There we go. That's my child's Donatello staff. All right. And then next week, this is the Monkey King cudgel. When I get my studs and I put the studs in each end, I'll be cord wrapping the center of this. These are about 6 feet long. They're very, very long. Also, to let you guys know, I am putting one of these poplar stakes. It was, I had a blank that for whatever reason was an inch shorter than it should have been. So I have this stake this is an 11-inch stake. Most of my poplar stakes are like this design are 12 inches. So I'm going to auction this one off on eBay for like a penny. So if you're interested, this will be on eBay later today. Warrior Wooden Props on eBay. That's what I normally do with stuff. Whenever it doesn't meet my quality assurance standards, I just auction it on eBay with no reserve at a very, very low price. So now we have the fun part of fitting the 550 cord back, which is always a pain in the ass. And I'm just finishing up here. If you've got any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. I'm just finishing up, and if we don't have any questions when I'm done, I'm probably just gonna call it a day and start packing up. I was expecting the live to be a little longer this morning because I thought I was going to be doing that Monkey King cudgel, but unfortunately my ADD ass forgot to buy studs, so I gotta go buy some more hammered bronze and gold studs. So I make two different kinds. I make a brown one with hammered bronze studs, and I make a gold studded one with gold paracord wrap, so that you can do either one. All right, that's it for my paracord. Oh, but yeah, well, fam, I think that's everything for today. I was honestly thought this was going to take me way longer. I am done like so much earlier than I thought I was going to be because that Monkey King cudgel. I really thought that Monkey King cudgel was going to take me longer because it takes a while. I have to like, those Monkey King cudgels are a little time consuming, the finishing work, because I have to measure out the spots for all the studs. I have to mark those with a Sharpie. I have to drill holes where I marked with the Sharpie. Then I have to put the studs into it. And then once I put the studs into it, I gotta come over here and I have to cord wrap the handle. It is, of all the long staff type stuff that I make, those Monkey King cudgels definitely take the most time. All right, let's clean this applicator off since I apparently forgot to do that last week. And now I'm paying for it. I may not be able to. Oh, man. All right. I got a razor over here. There we go. Just want to clean off that applicator, because if you don't, you can see how the CA kind of builds up on the tip, and then eventually it clogs it, and that becomes a whole other issue. All right. Well, chat, anybody got any questions for me before I bounce? Because I am about to call it a day. Then go home, put the new stuff up on the shop, do some laundry, watch a bad movie, all that jazz. Anybody? No questions? All right. Well, class, thank you for hanging out with me. As always, my shop is warriorwoodandprops.com. You can also find me on eBay. The eBay shop's also Warrior Wood and Props. You can find the links to all my shop locations in my bio on my link tree. You can follow me on, oh, there we go. No, we don't. All right, never mind. You can also find me on Instagram at natrbrown37. That's NATRBROWN37. I'm over on Instagram. Over on Instagram, I do shop updates, but I also do, I have a pretty bad movie addiction. So I do reviews of absolutely horrible films over there as well. I don't really do that for any other reason than I just love bad movies. And anyway, oh, by the way, I just found out recently, I should be at Tampa Comic-Con this summer. I'm not sure what they're going to have me doing yet, so stay tuned for that. But anyway, if anybody doesn't have any questions, I'm going to bounce and get out of here. Go home, add stuff to the shop, and watch a bad movie. As always, thanks for hanging out with me. I will be back online doing my next live next Saturday for Saturday staining. And I'll be back here, same bat time, same bat channel every Sunday morning, doing my finishing work. All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with me. Take care.